I'm ready to get the most.
This is a beautiful conversation. I don't know. I haven't had this recording going.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, now we're recording. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Now we're recording.
Exciting. We have a ton of questions. I probably have like, I don't know, 8 or 9 on my page. I think the Unshakable page got like 4 or 5. So
Yeah.
I'm excited up in
on mine. We're ready, dude.
You were up so late last night because you were fixing up your property.
Yeah. That's what it takes sometime.
That's fun.
Sometimes, right?
And then you called me for help, and you're like, "Hey, you want to come over here and help me?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm in my boxers on the couch with a blankie. This is not happening."
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of steps I'm too deep into before I'm backing out of this couch time.
It's a good time of bonding still, you know.
Yes.
Like, hey, I thought of you. You want to come?
No, it was beautiful. I was happy to do it. So, let me grab these questions. I'm excited.
Yes. I've got some. We had JB with the masses for the masses podcast put in on it.
He did.
Did
he message it to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, then
we got a lot of good ones. Like I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I've got some books that are going to help a lot of people.
Yeah. What to say when? What book is that again?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I saw what to say. What to say when you talk to yourself. I've heard amazing things about this book.
Dr. Helmstetter is a beast.
I'm reading Power right now, the 48 Rules of Power, and it is sad. It's a sad book in a way because it just basically like breaks down how corrupt people are and bad people are. Jeez. But it is such a powerful tool. Like it is like people just don't understand that like how manipulative people are and how to like people will do this or that. And if you can understand people's like psychology, then you can really like at least keep yourself safe in like business situations and decisions you make.
Gosh, that's pretty stellar.
I'm excited.
Good thing to know and have.
Beautiful.
Oh, Bobby Klein. Just
Bobby
gave
Klein?
his email for later.
I like it.
Wow.
2 podcasts today because we're feeling spicy.
I'm excited for this.
Me too. So whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and hop into the first questions.
Dude, I'm ready.
Okay. So I'm not going to name names of people that put questions in. I think we're more likely to get questions in the future if we don't.
Yep.
I really like these first 2 questions by this guy. He said, "How do you overcome imposter syndrome?" And that's a hard one. We literally have talked about this on the podcast about how we all suffer a little bit with this. My personal answer that I've worked through is just like proof in the pudding. Is like you only feel like an imposter because maybe your life is good. Like for me, I feel like imposter syndrome because I'm like, look at all the things in my life. Look how good things have gone. Like, am I deserving of all this? Is this like where I meant to be? But the best thing for me is the proof in the pudding. Is like I look back, I look every week, I look every day, and I look at how hard I work, how much I do compared to maybe the average person. Yes. And it basically re-incentivizes that to me. And obviously having the right people around you would be my second answer to that because like I have beautiful people around me who tell me all the time and compliment me on, how amazing they think I am. And I try to do the same for them. And when you have those people around you, instead of like the little like turds that we all hung out with when we were young, who just like talk shit all day, like my friends cry when I do good things. Your friends are mean.
Right.
What do you think, Jim?
I think this usually, like with imposter syndrome, is like, first off, let's dive into like what that is. Because with Mr. Cortland, he was coaching me a bit on like secrets to massive action. And imposter syndrome is like the belief that you don't deserve what you have accomplished. Right.
Yes.
And then self-sabotage is even like synonymous with it. It happens with it, unfortunately. Like you undermine the work that you've done on your goals and values, and then it makes you indecisive, right? Like you don't make a decision or fear of making the wrong one. So you get into analysis paralysis. Yeah. So like the imposter syndrome kind of just comes from self-image. And I love what you say too, Derek. You just kind of said that, like, confidence comes from evidence, right? And it's like you look at things that you've done and then can kind of dive into that. So I would say with imposter syndrome, it's like, look at the past. This is the time to look in reverse, but in a healthy way, in a positive way. Because a lot of people look back in anger, right? And like, gosh, I suck. Like, why did I do this? Why did I do that? It's like, bro, like, what did you do? Like, did you graduate anything? Did you make any cool friendships? Did you make any impact?
Yeah.
I guarantee the 126 bits of the 2 million that's coming at you every moment, you might just be focused on the wrong 126 bits, right?
Exactly.
That would kind of be what I would say is like, get with some other people too that know how to like change this, right?
Yeah.
Like we can look at mission, we can look at purpose, we can look at vision, we can look at your B5, right? Like there's a lot of things, like a lot of us just realize in our daily mode of operations that can maximize our integrity with ourselves.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my answer is integrity. Like integrity is filled with one thing, that's self-worth, right?
Yeah.
Your self-image. And that is by doing, like, saying what you're going to do and doing what you're going to say.
Yeah. I think I would add once again that it's just like, if the only state of mind where I think imposter syndrome makes sense would be like some rich kid who has like $5 million and literally has never worked a day in their life or something like that. Then I understand. But for those of us in our circle, the people around us, even the man asking this question, I know he works hard, and I know you work hard, and I know those of us in our circle work really, really hard. I mean, I'm not the type of guy that's like hashtag grinder or anything like that. Like we work hard, play hard, but like we all do. Like, you know, we all put in our dues, and like anything we receive from that is going to be fair.
Bro.
So I think there's an importance there.
Dude, that's a good point. Let's look at this too. So for anybody else listening, like, let's be vulnerable.
No.
Because I have imposter syndrome. I've had it before. I've definitely slayed it to where the small voices that try to get into your head, the resistance, are much less significant now, right? But dude, like there were times in my kindergarten, like all the way middle school, high school, college, and then my doctorate program. Now, once I got into my doctorate program, I never cheated again. Never again. So like I know that 3.94 GPA was all solid. But what's crazy is in college and high school and middle school and kindergarten, I learned how to cheat.
Yeah.
Right. And I got really good at that.
Yeah.
And I felt out of integrity even the first time I did it in kindergarten. Like I remember that. It was vivid. But I was like, dude, like I am so stuck in the way that people are teaching me these things. And I'm not like knowing how to learn it. And I was feeling like just broken. So it's like, whenever I look at my doctorate, right, occupational therapy, and whenever I'm stuck on something, that imposter syndrome will come back. It'll say, hey, so you're not even a real doctor of occupational therapy, right? You suck, bro.
Yeah.
No way. And so I would say that, like, to remind yourself and like just do the next right thing.
Yeah.
You know, because even like cheating, like you're going back to the blueprint. Like I would rather a doctor or whoever, like it's good to know it, but could you please go freaking check yourself? Right? Yeah. Like go check the blueprint before you go build this house. Right? Go check like what this is and what the contraindications are before you give me this medication or this intervention. Right? So I guess like that's kind of me personally, just understanding like what I did to get to where I am today. Like there were different routes that I took in terms of like cheating in some aspects, and like that's not okay. But it's also okay to know like what am I doing now, and what did I do in the doctorate program to change that.
It's interesting how many different versions of imposter syndrome there are too, because like for me, mine has nothing to do with like my intelligence or like cheating, or obviously it's just a vastly different story. For mine is like confidence. Like my imposter syndrome, like when I, for a long time, when I would feel confident or act confident, it felt like fake because I knew how insecure I really was underneath it all. But that same thing kind of, which is like where you did the 3.94 GPA and did it yourself. Like at a certain point, like, you know, I actually did the things to become confident. Like, you know what I mean? I fixed my physique, and then I built a career, and I did all the things. At a certain point, like, it was the fake it till you make it. And then I just started actually being confident along the way. So I do think there is like some real merit to like fake it till you make it. And like, as long as you're actually putting in the work in and not just faking it, there's the make it part matters.
What do you think of this verbiage? So the fake it till you make it. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if you act the way that you want to feel, eventually you'll feel the way that you act.
See, I love that one. I love that one. Exactly. I think there's so many people who are so worried about like fitting into the bubble where they think they need to be, rather than like acting the way they need to be in the next thing. Like, people just don't understand that like you don't get from A to B without some kind of change existing, and that change is almost always going to be you, because the world around you is not going to change for you. So like, it's something that I really like from Rich Dad Poor Dad's. Like, in life, you know, there's only two options. It can be like their fault or your fault. It can be their problem or your problem. It can be their decision or your decision. The only difference is if you put it on them, if you wait for other people to do it, then you have no choice in the matter. You have no decision. You are just blowing in the wind. But if you take responsibility for all, then you have all control. So I think that's a really good way to sum up what we need to do with that. And then this same person asked, what habits have you created for yourself to be successful? I'll let you start that one. It makes me think of B5s.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what I would say is like the B5. So that's predicated upon the three pillars of be before you can do, and then do before you can have. Because a lot of people just do. And I think that like for my purpose, my mission, like love God, love others. It's literally that simple, right? But then like we put in the way that we do things. Like if what's fueling my do is selfishness and jealousy and anger and all that type of stuff, okay, that's what I'm doing, and that's not loving very well, right? Yes. So if I go back to the B, now there's things that I can change my beingness. So I would say that for the habits, for me, like there's different things that I would say anybody can find for themselves. But for me, like every day, I'm going to do 30 minutes of personal development. I'm going to do 30 minutes of movement. So that kind of opens it up for me to do ultimate frisbee or a workout or a run, whatever it might be. A deep connection. So maybe call grandma, right? Tell her you love her. It's crazy. She hasn't heard from you, right? Deep connection. And then let's see, what was another ones? That's not 5.
Probably some prayer.
Oh, gratitude. Yes, sir. Gratitude. Yep, gratitude. So sometimes that is just each time that I pray, like I don't keep a log and like time myself, but that kind of adds to the 10 minutes of. And sometimes it will just be like standing in the shower, like going over things that I'm thankful for. And then number 5, man, I've been marking it off. What an opportunity, right?
Spanish.
10 minutes of Spanish. Duolingo,
I know your B5 is better than you do.
You're a freaking beast, bro. So yeah, honestly, doing those things and seeing those check marks every single day and seeing that it's been happening for literally over 209 days, like that right there is like, hey, and even when you mess up, it's okay, but it's once, and you're recording along the way, like saying, dude, look, you've been doing what you said.
Yeah. I think I would add to, because I obviously have my B5s as well. And I think that I would add to what is a genius thing there. Everyone create your essentials, like create the things that you're not going to not do.
Non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables is the word I was looking for. You get your non-negotiables in, the things you're going to do every day, no matter what you force yourself to do, even on the days you don't want to. But the one thing I think you learn in our business groups and the things that we spend a lot of time with when we go to our seminars together and things like that, the people who are the most successful are always re-educating. They are always continuing to push what they're learning at all times. Like most people in the world nowadays that we see who are kind of stuck in their life have had zero education or attempted zero education beyond high school. And then there's the next layer to that, which is the people who go to college, and I'm great for them. And then they get a better job, but that's all they ever do in life is get that next level job, because that's where their education ends. You will
Right.
only keep climbing up the success path if you keep gaining skills. There's only one way to climb, and that is to get skills. So you will notice if you talk to people in our business group, you even talk to me and Jimmy, we are always reading. Well, we started the podcast. Here's 2 good books we're reading right now. Like you should be reading all the time, even if it's audiobooks. You should be taking in knowledge in some way all the time,
Yeah.
going to seminars when you get the opportunity. And if you don't have the money, just there's free audiobooks on YouTube.
YouTube is free.
Yeah, YouTube's free. There's free audiobooks. I'm quite good at stock trading. I've made myself quite a bit of money doing it, and I learned every ounce of what I know about stock trading off of 2 books and probably 100,000 hours of YouTube.
Yeah.
So
that.
anybody who wants to step up the next level, they just put your time and your effort into that. And I will say, I'd add to that, and time into your craft, for example, like me and Jimmy, for example, we're good with our health and fitness background because we live in it every single day. And there was a time period where we were doing it for free. There's time periods in our life where we had to literally offer our services to people for free just to get the opportunity to get the education. So if you're someone out there that owns a business, if you're someone out there who, is trying to figure out how you get from A to B, just start doing what you do and offering to people for free. I promise you, it is like the best thing you can do. The worst case scenario is that you will get an hour's worth of free education on how to be better at what you do. And I think those are my favorite tips.
Dude, I love that. I would say too, like kind of if you look at what you just said there, like doing the things, right? If you see how, like, what was their question exactly?
It was, what are your tips for being successful?
For being successful, right? Okay. And I think that a lot of times it doesn't have to be just one thing, but like you said, like there's a lot that goes into acquiring more information about health, or let's even say the Forex market, right? Like there's Baby Pips for anybody that wants to like learn more about how to trade that. Baby Pips is free, and it's literally got like elementary school, middle school, high school, and then like college to like teach you how to do it. And it's free. So it's like there's all of this vast stuff out there. Now, what I would say is a phrase to remember is that it's short-term displeasure for long-term gain, right? So that's where it kind of gets like the gray area and the balance, because you don't want to do so much short-term displeasure that you're not even present in your relationships, right? Because you're going to lose those. I would say that that's not successful, actually, right? So it's learning how to communicate. It's learning how to maximize those relationships too, while also, hey, go and stay out until 11 o'clock at night with your wife cleaning your Airbnb because it doesn't make sense to hire cleaners yet. Right.
I think exactly that. And I think what you said with like the long short-term sacrifice for long-term rewards is what I always say. But it's exactly that. Like if you want to be successful in business, like you're gonna have to learn that. Like there's like the fancy quotes I love to like say, we all love to say, which is like, if you want to spend money without looking at the charge, then you have to be able to work without looking at the clock. Like we've all heard stuff like that, but like at the end of the day, the truth is like you are going to have to do some work. Like you are going to have to get comfortable with not getting rewarded. I tell my coaches coming on, like, be prepared that you're going to have to work for free. Like,
not because, it's okay.
Everyone does. Like people look at Hercules and they're like, it took me 10 years to build a successful company. 6 years in, we made no money. 6 years in, we made nothing worth talking about. I mean, nothing worth talking about. Like it was not even a part-time job amount of money. It was, but we were helping tons of people. We were doing a lot, but it wasn't like, and everybody, like they look at these things and they'll be like 6 months and they'll be like, oh, I didn't get everything I want. It's like, no, like, is that what it takes for you to give up? Then maybe you don't, no offense, deserve the reward. Cause like,
well, I love what you just said there too. Like, don't look at the clock.
Yeah.
Right. Cause it's like, dude, if you're on purpose and you're really like loving the journey and loving that person where they're at, dude, like, I'll go here for hours. And that's what happens in my sessions. A lot of times I'm getting better at it. It's an opportunity for me, but like, instead of it being a 30-minute or 45-minute session, we get into so much stuff and they're so like, just like exploding that it's an hour and a half. Right. Yeah. So it's like,
I struggle with it with my PT all the time. I'm just like, but we got it. We got to get this stuff in. We can't. I guess we gotta, and then I cut into my own day, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. But
like I said,
I guess
being on purpose is just is super important. Like I said, it's like if you're doing what you want to be doing with your life, like it's not always gonna be fun, but like you should be able to stay on path with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it. Next question, which I like this one. Let me grab it. They're all over the place. We have so many questions in different places. This one, this is a good little vulnerable moment. Not vulnerable, but do you work with wheelchair people? This goes for both of us. And my answer is, and I assume we both are, absolutely freaking yes.
Yeah.
But I will caveat, I know Jimmy has, I have never worked with somebody in a wheelchair. I've worked with a lot of things. I've never worked with anybody in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I would say my first experience was out in Haiti. So we did a 9-day clinic in different areas of Haiti. And that was my first experience. I was a seating therapist assistant in the doctor program, learning how to like make adjustments. What are the standards? And honestly, a lot of people can look those up too. Like it's free again, right? But it does help when you have those like experiences and tips and tricks on like little modifications that can be made to make that wheelchair more ergonomically successful for that person, because that's where they're at all the time sometimes. So yeah, I love helping people enhance mobility. And yes, the answer is absolutely yes.
Yes. Perfect. Like I said, and I would say like where my inexperience comes in there, I would absolutely be willing to learn. So
yeah,
I mean,
we know people that do too, right?
That's all. Yeah, exactly. I have a lot of people I could reach into the pocket of to ask.
Yes.
But that's awesome. And I know this person specifically, and I will say I have been watching you, and you are an inspiration and you kick ass. And I really, really love watching your stuff. It really is good. I'll show you or introduce you later, Jimmy. Good guy.
For sure.
Beautiful. What are the questions that we got that you got in?
Yeah. So the one that we'll dive into too, because we've already kind of answered it.
Yes, I know. I got another list here, but while I pull it up, I figured we grab that one.
Let's do another one here. It's what's some good ways to improve self-dialogue.
Ooh, that's a good
right
one.
So internal dialogue.
It's a hard one, but it's a good one. I think that book that you just showed, you can show it again if you still have it on the counter there. That's a phenomenal tool. There's a lot of books like this that like what to say when you are talking to yourself.
Yes, Dr. Helmstetter.
Yeah, I think for me, it really was like I go back to it all the time. You're gonna hear me say it every single episode, is that confidence comes from evidence. So like I don't lie to myself. That's a really important thing to me. And I think a lot of people do. And like, that's one thing. And don't get me wrong, I have lied to myself. It's like, but it is like a rarity. I think most people do it on an everyday basis. But little examples is, I mean, if I tell myself I'm going to get up at 8, I get up at 8. If I tell myself I'm going to get up at 6 a.m, I get up at 6 a.m. Right. If I tell myself tomorrow we're running a mile, I'm going to run the mile. And if I wake up in the morning, I'm about to run my mile. And in my head, if the little trickle in my head says do 1.5, do it. And that's not like not getting Jocko Willix on the mic with you. But it's not like that. It's just, I think that if you want to have good self-talk, you have to believe that you are good. And I think that worth comes from proof and evidence. So like if you want your self-worth to go up, prove to yourself that you're worthwhile. And like I know that's like people just want to like us to give them like some, not everybody, but a lot of people just want like to go to a therapist and walk out and go, oh, I'm worthy, I'm perfect, I'm all these things. But like at the end of the day, like the people I know who are the most confident are the people who kick ass the most. And that doesn't mean fitness, and it doesn't necessarily mean business. It could be painting, it could be literally anything you want to do with your life. But if you want to have good self-talk with yourself, you need to prove to that person in here that you are good. And I think the only way to do that is to actively prove to yourself all the time that you are what you say you are and that you'll back up what you say.
Let's go, baby. Back it up. Well, I've got a few steps on this one.
Go ahead. I like this.
I would say that it's super simple. Firstly, with the ABC, awareness before change, right? So we have got to increase your awareness of why your internal dialogue is not the best that it could be, right? So when we look at that, we want to identify negative self-talk. And we've talked about this on a few other episodes and some of coaching sessions that I know you and I have both done with people. Yeah. But like there are literally 146,000 no, you cannot, you're not good enough versus 300 to 3,000 yes, you can, you are good enough in people's lives in the beginning of their life as they're starting their journeys. So it's like, that's a lot of negative programming thrust upon people, right? Yeah. So that's good awareness. First thing, oh gosh, there's a reason why I go right to the negative. Also, negative is way easier, by the way. It's a much easier excuse to get out of whatever you're doing and to understand, oh, I'll never be, right? So that's the ABC, awareness for change. Then now that we have the awareness, understanding that principle alone is now identifying the negative self-talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you realize, and there's small things, but one of my buddies recently, he said, yeah, such a dummy. I was like, don't say that, bro. He's like, it's ironic. I was like, yes, but your subconscious doesn't know the difference. Just say, this is still sarcasm and funny. Say you're a genius.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, because your subconscious hears that, it doesn't know that you're joking. So like, yeah, I am, right? And so that's a small thing, right? I know the person that's asking this question says that he's his biggest self-critic. He's his worst critic, right? And like he almost, when he said it the first time he said it, he's like prideful about it, like almost like it was a justification. You know, I'm my worst critic. I'm like, no, you're not. You don't have to be anymore today, right now. Are you okay with that? Right? Ask your subconscious, make sure, because you don't have to do that anymore, right? You can actually start to speak about yourself and be about yourself and like love God and love others to where you don't have to take away from that abundance anymore, right? Because so that would be the identifying, challenging the negative self-talk, and then practicing like how you're speaking. So it has to be in the present tense. That's in this book. You have to speak in present tense, like it's already happened. So let's say that you're trying to quit smoking, or you're trying to, why am I saying trying? You are playing away, you're breaking resistance in quitting smoking or whatever. So you are going to say, I don't smoke anymore, right? I no longer smoke, right? I have embraced this, I've embraced that. And like, even while you're smoking, the cognitive dissonance in your head just makes it switch. Yeah. So, yeah,
Tony Robbins says something on that where he goes, stop saying that you're 30 days sober. He's like, yes, because if you're never going to drink, again, then why are you counting?
Right. Correct.
And like, you're not a drinker anymore. That's what you are. You're
that's
not.
It. It's identity.
And that's so powerful. And I would add to this, what you made me think of when you said that is two things. One, I love this quote that I think people could wrap their head around, which is if someone treated me the way I treat me, I would never see that person again. So I do think like a lot of that type of self-talk, where like we really are mean to ourselves, I think a lot of that does come from like trauma, and a lot of us don't even realize where that is. And like me and you can represent like the PSI seminars. We're big fans of them. There's another one coming to Fort Wayne this year. I do recommend anybody watching this to go. Yes. For me, it was amazing. It was impactful. And I found some deep trauma in me that was lingering and holding me back and making me less joyful and like making me less worthy and just crapping on myself. And I found it, and I found out why. And it made complete sense when I found it, but I never would have been able to fix it if I didn't go through the process of finding that. And so I think like finding those things is important, and reach out to me and Jimmy. We can point you in the direction of PSI. I recommend it, or any other seminars. There's probably other ones also that are good, but this is just a local one, so we can, plug it in. We love it.
That's the longest one yet.
It's the best one. And then the last one is just a little tip, and this is like one there's actual psychology on, which is like when you look in the mirror, give yourself a high five. There's actual science on this, which is if every time you look in the mirror, you give yourself a high five, your relationship with yourself will get better. And it's just because like most people look in the mirror, only they look at their pimples. They look in the mirror and they are looking at their problems. But if every time you look in the mirror, you smile at yourself and give yourself a high five, even if it's like fake, just like do it. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Like you will start feeling better. And I think that's just, I got that actually off of a really successful woman. I can't remember her name. I always need to go back and find it, because I give that.
It's okay. We heard it from you.
So I have some really good questions right here I was excited about. So
let's sum that one up. So identify negative self-talk, challenge your negative self-talk, practice affirmations, right? So I am what that follows, it'll be. Surround yourself with positive influences, and then visualize success.
Yes.
Like literally see it.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, once you move through all those, just create as much evidence as you possibly can every day, because nobody is ever going to believe in something that they've never seen any proof of, or they don't feel, or they don't expect, or they literally don't believe. I mean, just create something there, do something. And if you can't, pretend.
Amen. Amen.
So this one says, how helpful can a daily stretching and yoga routine benefit your flexibility and health? So you want to dive in first?
Daily?
Daily.
Yeah. Look at, I'm excited to hear Derrek's answer here too, because you got some good microbiology on this. But like, honestly, just putting your movement equals life. That's what I tell all my patients.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are chair bound,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if we can get you to move what you do have to the fullest, because once we lose like a leg or we lose function of the lower body or half our body, sometimes we're just like, well, no point. No, bro, you still have half.
Yes.
Or 75% of. So it's like move the rest.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing. I mean, I speak from experience too. There's a time in my recovery period where my leg was just out of the equation. And so I wasn't doing anything. Right. I looked like a little 8th grader. So it's like I would say that movement equals life. And yoga is a beautiful, like grounded way to find your grounding, find your center of gravity, find it through gratitude and all these beautiful things.
Yeah.
So
And if
I would say absolutely.
And if you haven't done yoga, before I go into my thing, and I love what you said, because it is grounded, it is all these beautiful things. It is, but anybody who thinks of yoga as like some girly wussy thing, yoga is the most badass, hard, difficult thing you could ever do. Go do a hot yoga class. Every time I go to a hot yoga class, even though I've done probably like, I don't know, 40, 50 of them, I literally am scared in the car on the way there. Every single time. Fear, lots of it. Like stomach, ugh, I don't want to go, please. Let's come up with an excuse. Let's not go. It is horrible. But when you walk out of there, you feel incredible.
100%.
So yeah, I am a big fan of daily stretching. I actually do like daily stretching over like once a week stretching, even shorter duration. So one little bit of tidbit of science I'll throw in here. So people don't know this much about stretching and yoga and these sort of things, but so flexibility is actually a nervous system guard, not actually a muscle fiber problem. So what I mean by that is that when you stretch, you do technically elongate muscle fibers and stretch them out, lengthen them, but it's like such a minor thing, you can barely see it on the scale. What really happens is the reason you cannot touch your toes is that your nervous system will not allow the muscles to relax for you to get there. It's basically, in reality, it literally is, your body does not trust you with that range of motion. It does not believe that you could handle it properly. So it stops you from going there so you don't hurt yourself. So basically, when you stretch, you're basically earning trust with your nervous system to calm that sector down. And that's why you can actually gain almost full flexibility in a human if you take it very seriously. And it's not something most of us are ever going to have time to do, but they do it with gymnasts a lot after they have injuries. You can actually gain the body back to like full splits, like full level flexibility in 14 days. And that's just because you're teaching the muscles to calm down. And that's not to say that you should try to do that. That's like an extremist thing. But my point being is that why that's important is like a lot of people get hurt and they get injured, and it's because of the fact that they don't have trust through all ranges of motion of their body. So what happens is that they'll go to do something and their body won't allow them into that range of motion. It'll lock up the muscles, it'll tighten everything up. The problem is if you have a heavy enough weight or you're bending the wrong way, your body's going to keep going that direction whether those muscles locked up or not. Like your body's not smart sometimes. And like you'll rip a hamstring, you'll rip your hip, you'll fall, you'll have all these injuries. So like on like we have a million things there, but it's absolutely impeccable for lifting health, for your health, for long-term health to do that. And I would say like stretching like 15 minutes a day is kind of like the perfect amount. Like, and what I would do is I'd vary. Like I would do like every day I would do hips just because hips lock up on people so much. But I would do like hips and then like some part of my body, hips, some other part of my body, hips. And I do it like that. And my real life example, just to inspire people to do this, is I'm going to name him by name. Rick Lutrich. Rick Lutrich is a man in Fort Wayne. He's a very successful business owner. I used to work with him, and he. Me and Jenny used to go to his house, do yoga and stuff like that. Most flexible guy I've ever met. He's 74 now, probably. He was 72 at the time or something like that. He could squat more than I could. Wow. He had a ton of back surgeries and neck surgeries, like 50, fell in love with yoga, became a yoga master, which is an actual title. Like he did so many classes, became so good at it that he became a yoga master. But at 71, 72 years old, he could squat like 365 easy. He looked like a bodybuilder. He would talk all the time about he had no pain. He felt amazing. This is post back surgeries where he didn't think he'd ever move again.
Right.
And He could do splits on the wall, like put his leg up on the wall in front of him and do a split, like just crazy stuff. But like the dude looked 50. He moved like he was 20. He was stronger than most 20-year-olds. It's amazing. And he would tell you every single time, it wasn't his strength, it wasn't the training, it wasn't his diet. At 100%, he gave it always all the way back to the fact that he stretched all the time.
Wow.
So
yeah.
worth doing.
Amen.
I know that was my rant, but I don't do enough of it either. I've been really crapping on myself lately because.
Well, let's look at people that are trying to do exercise too, Derek. Like when they're trying to do exercise, like, hey, look up. Like if you don't have a coach, literally just look up whatever muscle groups that you're attacking, and find out ways not only to stretch but also to activate.
That's big.
Like pre-activation of that. Like let's say, for example, doing like standing or prone snow angels.
Yeah.
Right. That is such a good rotator activator, rotator cuff. And I think that's really like a huge part of people maximizing their output. And also like, So.
I agree. I know what you said with activation too. Like, I think like, and this for anyone listening who's like, I want to get buff, I want to get big. Like a lot of guys suck at like activating their biceps or their chest or any of these things. Like they'll do all these chest workouts and they'll feel it in their shoulders. And and that's where like what you just talked about, like doing like these prone workouts, doing like some floor workouts for your rotators, and then like getting your chest pre-activated can be so big for all these things. And yeah, exactly. And one thing people like notably before we move on from the question was like, if you want to grow muscle, why is flexibility important? Because muscles grow the most when you load them in a stretched position, which means that you actually don't grow the most from a chest press when you're squeezing. You grow the most when you're at the depth with the load on the pec. So if you do not have the flexibility on your hamstrings, on your quads, on any of these movements, to take these movements to the safe range of motion that they truly need to with the load, you'll never grow as well as you should, because it's not actually at the contraction, it is at the stretch point that you get the most growth. So that's why you got to be flexible.
Dude, I got one more thing. I love how we do this. Like,
I love it.
Great point. Yes.
Like you reminded me. Now I got more to say.
Yes. And I love it. But that's a huge thing in therapy. Like I always show the patients, we are going to achieve full range of motion first, or all that we can, right? They're like, I just want to get stronger and build more endurance. It's like, that's beautiful. But what if, for those that are actually watching, what if your elbow flexion and extension is only right here? Like you're actually contracted, right? Well, our opportunity is to get it to here. Now maximize that, right? So I just love that that's what you said. And that's something that's hugely preached upon in occupational therapy, physical therapy, any of the therapies. Like, dude, let's pursue full range of motion, and then we can start pursuing progressive strengthening.
I love the I don't love it, but there's a limited belief there for a lot of people where they're just like, and I don't even know limited beliefs right word, but I get it a lot with clients where they'll be like, no, dude, I don't want to do that stuff. I'm here to get buff. You're like, oh no, dude, that's not what you're like, trust me, like pulling the slingshot back for 2 days will slingshot you forward so much faster.
Yeah.
Like try seeing how far a rock goes out of a slingshot when you just don't pull it back. You know, sometimes you got to do the pre stuff. So like, it's like, if you and also, you know, it's real cool to put on 10 pounds of muscle, but if you rip your fucking bicep and you have to sit on the couch for 6 months, you're not going to have that muscle when you're done. Amen. So let's not get hurt. Not get hurt. For any of my clients listening, any of Jimmy's clients listening, don't get hurt. That's rule number one. Don't get
hurt. Be awesome. That is not involved.
This one I was really excited about. I love this one. This question was good. I'm gonna here we go. Sorry, pop back up.
Okay.
I can read, guys. I promise. I promise I can read.
Yes.
How to draw the line between putting your faith in God or in your own actions. Ooh.
What's Derek think about this one?
I'll go on this one. So this, and everyone in the world is going to have a different perspective on this. And I think this is one of the beautiful things that comes with being around the right people when it comes to religion, is understanding that everybody's going to have their own thoughts sometimes. Like sometimes the reason people stay away from religion is they're like, I got to box myself into the box that everybody is in. Like, no, this is your box. This is not even a box. You're not boxed.
Your relationship.
This is your freedom over here. And that's what it's supposed to be. But I think putting faith in God and then your own actions kind of cohesively go together. So God has a plan, but we have free will. And like one thing I've been doing lately is I've been having a lot of problems. And I'm not here to complain. I'm like, life's beautiful, but I've had a lot of big things happen with money and the business and things like that. Not bad things, just opportunities. And but I've been simply going, I'm just going to give it to God. I'm going to give it to God. And sometimes you have that opportunity, but I will state that I did not give it to God and then sit on the couch. I gave it to God, and then I took that calmness that God gave me in that moment, and I used it to fix what I needed to move better into that right path. So like, I think that like, I think a lot of people like, I personally hate the synopsis where they're like, don't worry, it's all going to work out. God's got a plan. I'm like, yeah, he does, but like his plan was also for you to do stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
God, it's not like if God intended you to be a millionaire, it's like if you just sit on your ass for 10 years, he's just gonna be like, poof, $1 million showed up on your porch. Like, no, you have free will and you screwed up the path. You didn't do like God gave you all this limitless power and all this beautiful stuff in your life, and you are not taking advantage of it.
Amen.
So that's best where I would like for separate those things two out. Just because God has blessed you does not mean that you get to stay where you are. You still have to move forward.
I would say that a lot of people, including myself, you spot it, you got it, right? Yes. But if this is too hard, like God, it's not for me. Like obviously God doesn't want it for me. A lot of people struggle with that. They think that the door is to be opened, right? Oh God, just close this door if you don't want it for me. And then if it's closed, perfect, I'm done. I don't have to do anything. But no, bro, like God, I think shuts doors to see if you're going to knock and see if you're serious. So I would say that it is a huge duality and synergy between your faith in God, understanding that he controls it all, right? Yeah. But at the same time, you are responsible for the action. When I look at my life and anything that I do, I'm responsible for the action. God is responsible for the results. So my expectation is not in the results. And like how let's even look at communication. When I speak to Derrek and I say a certain thing, and he says something back, my expectation is not in what he says back to me. Because as I start to anticipate what he's going to say, I'm not even listening to what he's saying anymore. So it's rather like my action is love. Let me love Derrek and give him this encouragement and edification in my voice that's possible, and then be ready to respond after. But the results is up to God. So it's like everybody, we are responsible for the action. So let's do what we can. Let's be our best. Let's do our best to be our best. Yeah. Right. That's what I would say. Like, just understand that duality, understand that faith and actions, it's a synergy. It goes together. It's not separate. Really.
Yeah, I think this goes back to like I recently come to the conclusion on this whole like God-fearing man thing, because I'm a God-fearing man, I've realized. But like people hear that and like, oh, is it because God's, terrifying and all stuff? No, it's because sometimes God's gonna do stuff that's good for you that you're not gonna like.
Amen.
And that's like C.S. Lewis has the book Mere Christianity. It's a great book. I've been like jazzing my way through it, but I love this part in the book where C.S. Lewis is talking about your body in your life is like a house, and you invite God in, and God starts painting the walls, and he starts changing countertops, and you're loving it. You're like, man, God, I see what he's doing here. This makes sense. He's fixing it up. He's fixing me up. But then all of a sudden God starts smashing walls down, and God starts ripping off an end of your house, and he rips a whole wing off, and then he starts building it taller, and he starts doing all this stuff. Right. And then C.S. Lewis in the book says, God's building a kingdom so he can move into you. But it's just like, sometimes like when you say give it to God, you have to understand that it might not be a good answer you get. And that's because, and that doesn't mean it's not good in the long term. It doesn't mean it's right for you. But I mean, we kind of see it like, if you need to get fit, you got to go to the gym and it's hard. If you want to lose weight, you got to diet and it can be hard. If you want, like, a lot of times the best things in life come from the hardest things in life. So when God wants the best for you, you're going to understand that, what usually comes with the best for you. Right. is hard. And then I think I'm just going to add this one real quick for you for the question, because these are things that are important to me on this one, is deciphering whether it's like give it to God or give it to myself. The one thing that I can do is I can trust God, and I can trust his plan. I can trust these things. But the one thing I can do that I found will always make it come full circle and make sure I'm doing the right things is I can walk with God, and I can be like the role model he gave me, which is Jesus. And the more that I can act and like put that role model in front of me and try to be more like him every day, it'll put you on the right path.
Church.
I love it. Man, this coffee's just giving me phlegm today. It's just killing me.
Wow.
Oh, I like this one. This is a good one. How did you and Jimmy meet?
Wow. Start us off, Derek.
Me and Jimmy met through PSI, through our group of business friends, through a million connections, but we actually met at Chipotle. We finally sat down and had our meeting at Chipotle. I think my version of the story is going to be funnier than Jimmy's, because when I first sat down with Jimmy, I didn't like him. I've said this before to him, but it wasn't personal. It was just, I was not following God at the time. So I thought he was a crock. I thought he was like a faker. I was like, man, this guy, oh man, he's full of it, man. He's smart, good, smart man. People probably love this crap. But then but after I left, it was just like, we had such a good time that day. That wasn't like the whole interpretation of the story. That was just how it started in my head. And then I spent like the whole day there with him. It was awesome. And then we just like kept finding ways to get around each other, and it just grew and grew. And like, we started like literally just spending all this time together all the time. And over time, it was funny that I realized obviously there was no fakery to the Gymster. It was just like genuine. And then like, obviously my walk with faith has been where me and Jimmy have connected so much.
Wow. Amen. Yeah. My first recollection actually is at ISG, Iron Society.
Oh, we did.
I don't
meet
know
there.
if you saw, like,
you
I don't know how we
me.
knew of each other, but we'd seen each other before maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we kind of crossed paths. I was like, what's up, dude? And then started just asking questions, right?
Bro etiquette.
Yeah, little broage here. Yeah. I'm like, hey man, like, how long you been here? You're like, well, actually, I pretty much run this gym. I'm like, swag. You didn't say that, by the way.
Yeah.
But it was true.
I did.
So yeah, it's just like really cool to like see you, and then I saw you that time, and your wife Jenna was somewhere else, and then I met her. So I was like, hi. And then that was that time. Then we saw each other every now and then, like, what's up, dude? Yes. So that was kind of my first interaction and continuous ones. Then we had PSI, and Derek, you got paired up with Sweet Sarah, my wife, as the group leader.
That's so great. I forgot about that too.
I think that those things like really channeled that. And then Chipotle happened. And then constant like interactions and like divine appointments is what I call it. Right.
It
like,
really
literally
was
divine. So that's how we met. And I think that everything is for a reason and a season. And sometimes that season is short and sometimes it's forever. And that's what I feel this one is.
Yeah. That's why we're bestest friends now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Gosh, there's so many good questions. I'm kind of just like hopping left.
Yeah, we're at 9:47 too.
Oh man, we're killing it.
Yeah.
We got okay. Let's go back to I got a church one here. Where do you two go to church? I go to Harvest Church on Wallen Road in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and you are all invited all the time. Come and join us. We go at 11 a.m. and it is beautiful. Get there at 10:45. I don't like people late to church. But and like I said, and hopefully, I'm planning on stealing him. Jimmy will also. He went there last week. He's gonna go there forever. We're gonna find a way. What about you, Jim?
No, I love that pastor's message, man. He is a freaking beast, and I'm looking forward to learn more too. It's always a discussion with the wife as well. Like, we're a team. Where does she want to go to? I'm down for Harvest. I also go to Pathway Community Church. That's where I've been the past 6 to 7 years, and I've led a small group Bible study through that church. So that's kind of the tight knit that'll always be, because they've really helped me. And it started with Dakota Bailey starting our small group. Then it came to Sarah and I leading it. But the Fam Bam, thank you, ma'am, small group Bible study. And so that's been every Thursday. It does have prerequisites now to where like you have to go to church and like be fed that way, then just come to small group and like have social hour, because we get deep. Like, we're going to be crying. We're going to be like going deep into the word and like understanding like what it says. Yeah. So I would say, to answer the question, church is Pathway Community Church on Carroll Road. We go at the 9 a.m. service. And we're also down with Out of Frown to potentially start going to Harvest for all of our Sundays as well. So
Yeah.
that's where we go.
Yeah, I think one thing I know it's like a side tangent there, but you named all this like the small group and these people and all this stuff. And I've had a lot of questions about this lately. And one of the questions I got was about me making a U-turn with religion. And I'm not gonna like no hard. I'm not. It's not that I'm avoiding the question. I love the question. It's just a very very long answer, and I think we've probably talked about it on other podcasts. But I will say like one of the things Jimmy just kind of mentioned there that kind of goes with that U-turn on religion is surrounding yourself with the right people. I think that's so crucial. It's divine. It puts everything in place. Like I literally like I said this, and it's not cheesy, but like there have been friends in my life, and I loved them all. But like like I talk about, like you're young, it's like the crack on each other, like oh you idiot, you stupid, oh you're like that's like all that comes out of your mouth. And then there's the people now, like the people that me and Jimmy, our friend group, we have this large group of probably 20 or 30 people that we're blessed to be spend our time with. They're all chasing business success. They're all business owners of some velocity. We're all faith driven. We're all going to church. We're all spending time together, having deep conversations about these things. And like even like when I got saved last weekend, and I look over and it made it even so much more beautiful. My wife's crying, and I look past her, and Sarah's crying, Jimmy's wife, and then Jimmy's crying, and just everyone's just like just because it's just like we literally, when you're around the right people, like you having good in your life brings such joy to the people around you. Like if I called Jimmy tomorrow and I was like, dude, Hercules just got 100 clients today and we made fucking $50,000, it wouldn't be jealousy. It'd be like, let's go to dinner. We got to celebrate.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, and I know that's kind of side tangent, but like how I made my U-turn was like you surround yourself with the right people. And I think that's huge. Like a community and fellowship made this so much easier. And then I'll finish that question because I know it wasn't really, I didn't go deep into it, but just seek. Just seek. I spent so much of my time thinking I was seeking God, but really I was seeking my answer why God wasn't real. I was doing the opposite. It's kind of like what we talked about with the psychology of your self-talk. It's like what you start with is what you're going to end up with. So like I would go online and be like looking up like, is God real and stuff like that. But I would be purposefully going in with the agenda that God was fake, like I was trying to prove it to myself. And when I stopped doing that and I started doing the other, where I opened myself up to God and I started being like, hey, I'm here, I'm present, I'm going to go to church, and I'm going to read the Bible, and I'm going to let you come into me and show me, and it didn't take long. It was immediate. It was amazing. And now, fellowship and church and, spending time with Jesus are my favorite things in my life. So it is beautiful how much it is. And I know we threw two questions in on that one, but I just
good synonymous thing too is like seeking you shall find, knocking shall be open to you. Also, where focus goes, energy flows or grows. So it's like that comes down to so much, and we could get into
no, exactly. But I agree. So many people who are like, I don't believe in God. I'm like, have you gone to church? They're like, no. You're like, well, maybe like,
or they did go to church, and the one church that they went to, unfortunately, the people that they're practicing and stuff, like people are not God, by the way. Like we're the body of Christ and we're doing our best, but we are not the standard. So let's just say that first off, like when your representation of God is like the people that have screwed up in your life and screwed you over, like chill out and know that we all suck, including yourself, because you spot it, you got it.
Yeah.
So like
that's humans. That's not God.
Yeah, dude. Anyway,
it's like that's like someone said that to me the other day about like the Pope and like kids being molested in Catholic churches and all these things, and like they were just throwing stuff out there, and I go, yeah, but those are humans.
Yes.
That's humans doing bad. God didn't do those. Like, like humans are bad. Like I know about myself. I had a conversation with my wife last night about this. Like, I know in me is bad. Not I'm bad. I have both. But I work every day. I strive. I put effort. I put choice. I put decision.
It's a battle.
I put it into being good and kind and caring and making the right choices all the time for everyone, including the people around me and myself. And like, that is a decision. And it gets easier over time because if you turn right enough times, eventually the steering wheel only goes that direction. But I know that I have bad in me. I know that I have malevolence and bad in me. And I think that accepting that you have that and admitting it openly, not this fakery everyone likes to do. Because if people fake it, like if someone came to me and was like, no, I'm all good all the time, I don't have bad in me, I'm like, oh, you're a liar. That's okay. The best people I know at least are open about it. And and then once you understand it, you can kind of put together that like everyone has that, and some people lean the other way. They turn left all the time, and that's when you
Yeah.
get like bad people.
Amen, dude. And Derek, can we take this to this other question? Because I feel like what we're saying right now is answering it already.
Yes.
So brother in Christ, you know who you are for this question.
I love it.
What's your staples of living abundant? And so I feel like we've honestly already answered it. There's like 6 things that we've all talked about, Derek and I here. Gratitude.
Yes.
Mindfulness.
Yes.
Personal growth. Generosity. That's one we haven't touched on as much. Connection and faith.
Yes.
So like if we dive into those just a little bit, like gratitude. Gratitude is the best attitude, everyone. A lot of times attitude is positive, negative. Neither one's healthy. But when you can find gratitude, it is the most healthy energy and attitude you could ever have. So I would say gratitude, because when you focus on more what you have, you'll have more. Like it's crazy.
If you don't have gratitude, you have nothing.
Yes. Amen. So that's the gratitude that kind of comes into the emotional home that you live in too, right? But we can get into that another time. That's gratitude. We have mindfulness. So that's really just being present, like be where your feet are and aware of your thoughts and emotions and like how you're showing up for yourself and others, right? So that's the mindfulness. I would say personal growth, right? Which we talked about too, like just the key component of living abundant. Like we are always setting new standards, seeking out new experiences and challenges, and continually learning and expanding our knowledge. Like failure and challenge, I understand is now necessary. Like I am ready for it. I'm prepared for it because I know that it's necessary for me to develop my wings from this caterpillar stage.
Absolutely.
Right? And then generosity, guys, when I'm so inward focused, like that's when I get into my head. And when you get into your head, you're dead. Right? Isolation is totally where the devil wants you. Now, if you want to take moments of isolation and go out into nature and speak with God and be with God, beautiful. Going into your room is not the same thing.
On your phone.
Like,
once again, like being on your phone and looking at Facebook and telling people is not connection.
Correct.
Like, there's nothing more beautiful. Like we're doing it tonight. We do it all the time. And I can tell you that if you want to have a good night, stop focusing on, going to the bar or playing video games. Like if you're an adult, obviously you have to be an adult for this equation to work, but have every freaking friend you love over to your house and have a huge feast and have a huge meal and hang out with people for hours, and you will have a beautiful time. Like community and connection with people is everything.
Yes. And look at one of our presidents said, instead of asking the question, what can this country do for me? What can I do for my country?
Exactly.
It's the same thing with us, guys. That's the generosity. That's why this is literally the 4th pillar of living abundant. Like generosity. If you want to do it, like take your time, your resources, and your talents and the gifts that God has given you, and look for ways to give back to others and make a positive impact on yourself and your community. So that's the generosity. Connection. Dude, we've been talking about this the whole time, right? Meaningful relationships, connections. Now, in order to do that, guys, we have to be vulnerable. I can't act like I'm freaking perfect all the time. No, some of this stuff sucks and it's hard and I'm dealing with it and it's frustrating, but it's okay because we have each other and also our internal dialogue and God to figure it out and find ways like, all right, what are the things that I'm focused on right now? Well, Derek can maybe point out, actually, bro, Jim, you're seeing this, and this. Right. And you're not a little bitch for that.
Exactly.
You're just kind of missing this bit. And here you go, buddy. Like, let me get in the mud with you for a second.
Surround yourself with people who not only are going to be good for you, but are going to be honest with you.
Yeah. And let's get in the mud together too. Like, I don't need the solution right now sometimes. No. Let's just get in the mud together and then we can get out together too, if you want.
Exactly.
So 100%, bro. And then we have the faith.
Yes.
The faith. Now, what's cool is, like when Derek, you spoke of like our circle, not all of us are saved. Not all of us have Jesus. And you know what's cool though, is that they're still open, that they're still searching for truth.
Yes.
They just haven't figured it out yet. And that's okay. My job, our opportunity as Christians is not to make sure that people love God. It's to make sure that people know that God loved them.
Yes.
And that, I'm telling you right now, will make this life so much more beautiful with your faith and living it out well.
Yeah. And anybody listening to this, I think that's worth noting there is a really good point, is like, if you're someone who thought about going to church, if you're someone who's thought about getting involved in this, like, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all understood to do it. Like I'm constantly the guy telling everyone, or was telling everybody, like step by step, like, well, God's real, but I don't believe in the Bible. And then I was like, oh, God's real, I believe in the Bible, but Jesus is real. And then God's real, Jesus is real, the Bible's real, and this, but I'm not saved. And then God's real, the Bible's real, Jesus is real, and I'm saved. And just like, it's like you will learn as you go, but like you like don't be ashamed wherever you are in any of those paths, even if all of those things are false to you. Just come and join us. And if the best thing you get is you get to sing and have fun with us for a little bit, I think it'll seep its way into you.
Amen to that, bro.
I think we have time for one more question. I have one question I really loved, and I wanted to get it out here. There's so many good questions. We have to do this.
I know.
But this one said, what made you guys become coaches? Do you recommend the career? And I really like that because it's something that we both get so much fulfillment. We get our career path out of. And my answer would be for how do we become coaches? I think we can both answer that quick.
Yep.
I grew up obese and I was super unhappy all the time. Like I was in my head worthless, and I disliked myself, and I literally hated myself. And it was a bad time period in my life. You know what I mean? There's other problems, but along the way, I learned and created a life for myself that brought me joy and took the worthlessness away, that feeling of unworthiness away. And I became a coach because I wanted to help people love their life the way I love my life. I wanted to help people feel the way about themselves that I learned to feel about myself. And that was important for me. And along the way, like losing weight, getting muscle, and all these things, not only like all the sweet, heartfelt things about I wanted people to feel good, all true, but also lifting weights and muscle and all the stuff is badass, man. I loved it. Like I really enjoy being in the gym. I really like being in it. I love watching people transform. And that's what drove me to become a coach over all the years.
Dude, I love that. It's funny, Derek, like our hardships and things are slightly different, but beautiful. Like,
yeah.
So I grew up small and ugly. And like, I remember I was super nice. I was happy about everything and just excited for everything. And a lot of people like, put me to shame on that, I guess. And that's okay. But, yeah, just that was kind of my journey. Like I was always scrawny, maybe ripped, 6-pack abs, kindergarten, even like, grandpa taught me how to work at it, I would say. Like every morning we did abs before I went to school in kindergarten. So that was really cool. Yeah. So developing the habits, developing all those things along the way, I would say that I kind of learned like just the journey of like personal development in physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And the physical came first, I would say, for sure. Like just learning like, oh, these abs show up like when you eat right and you do right. Right.
Yes.
And so I started doing that. Then I got bigger and I got stronger. I got faster. I became more abundant. I became less ugly. Like seriously, I got braces for 5 years. And
look at your handsome self now, just fit and ripped and handsome and gorgeous. I mean,
thank you, bro.
Beautiful.
Thank you. God is an artist, So yeah, like I developed, and what's cool too. Even if my face didn't like mature into a different thing, like I still could have had the best body. Glory to God. Yeah. Right. Like there's still things in your control. So the physical, the mental, the emotional, spiritual, like was a constant journey. And how I became a coach is I realized the ABC, awareness before change. There were so many things in my life that I was oblivious to, and so many people that I hurt with like just being inconsiderate and like not understanding that my words are powerful and that they affect other people.
Yes.
And also my actions. So like everybody that I've ever hurt, I'm sorry. I love you. And like learning that now I still mess up, but it's so much less. It's so much more refined and defined to where ABC, I've changed before transformation. And now with the transformation continuing to occur, it's each one teach one. And so that's where I took on myself to be a coach, and all of our coaches with your table of abundance, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Yes. You want to have yourself it's 7s or 8s out of 10 all the time. So that way you can actually teach how to get there. Because a lot of people are sitting at 4s and 3s.
Yeah. Right? And I think something worth noting here that you said and I said is that like I think a lot of people look at a career path like this, like they're just going to decide to do it. And like, and I'm not against that. Go ahead, decide to do it. But like you hear me and Jimmy talking about this, like we didn't necessarily decide to just help all these people. And that's why we did all this. Like I wanted to fix myself. I wanted to help myself. I learned this knowledge, like grew over time bigger and bigger in the
Came
act of
from.
helping people and learning things.
Yeah.
But a huge majority of my knowledge was to make Derrek better, was to make me happier.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, whoa, I actually am kind of good at this and I could help people with this. And then it just, and I will add to that, the second part of the question, do I think this is a good career path? Yeah, I love it. I really do. I think I do, like, I mean, not to down anybody on the idea, but it is a hard path. Like, I think the success rate of people that can live on their income in this industry is 5%. And the success rate of people that make six figures in this industry is like 0.01%. So it is very lucrative. If it is something that you want to get involved with, not even an advertisement for me or Jimmy, but me and Jimmy both have coaches on our team. We both take people from like not working in the industry to making money in the industry. So if you are someone who is thinking about that path, get connected with either one of us. Both great teams, gonna take good care of you. Yeah. So
I would say,
I think
it's fulfilling.
Exactly. Well, man, perfect. You literally just took that right out of my mouth.
Come on.
I was just gonna say, there's only like the best job you can ever have in your life is like I'm gonna say these in an order that people might not like, but it's the truth. It's got to make money. It's the truth. You have to make money in your career. It will not work if you won't. Number two, you got to like it. That's the second best thing. You can have a job you don't like that makes money. Don't get me wrong. That's step one. You can have that, but you want that job to be even better. Like it. Make money and enjoy making money. That's beautiful. And that's the second best job in the world you could have. And the number one best job in the world you can have is something that makes money, you like, and fulfills you. And if you can have that, which I believe this is one of the career paths I can name off head, I don't know many, where you get the opportunity to have all three. We get the opportunity to help others, help ourselves, make money, have a fun day. Days are fun when we get to do this.
Yeah. So I would 100% agree with that, brother. Like, and I know that we're finishing up, but like it's 100%. Like, the money is there for sure, but if we can redefine too, like, how about we search the impact and the purpose, right? Yes. You start doing that, bro, you create value, money comes. And as you create the value, so does the mindset and the understanding that you're creating value. And then the value of a thing is brought by the price that it brings. Yes. So it's the value and the impact. Then we go into those other things that you said, right? Because it's like, it's so beautiful too with like coaching. Like, man, I tell you what, it's really here first. Like, you cannot give what you do not have. So if you continue to do that, Derrek and I are not done, by the way. Like, we're coaches now. We're not done. Like, I'm not done, bro. God's not done with me. He's not done with Derrek. Like, we're going to continue to refine.
This much in.
Yeah. God, dude, he's not done putting you in the fire until he pulls out that silver and can see his reflection. That's forever, bro. And like, I love that too. Cause it's like, dude, like, we are continuing to chase the next thing and become what we are, but become the next best as well. So like, I would say blissfully dissatisfied and like hungry for whatever God has next.
I like it. I think that's a beautiful place to end. We have so many questions left we didn't get to. We're gonna have to do another Q&A soon. I really enjoyed this. I want to do this like more often. So this was great. And I think, like I said, with these Q&A questions, if you are listening and we didn't get to your question, they are not going to be deleted. I saved them all. We will say them on the next one, and we'll do more questions so you guys can ask more stuff. This is beautiful. So let's end it right there. Like I said, I appreciate you to death, brother. It was a beautiful day just with me and you. We'll definitely
let's do a concise prayer.
Okay, I like it. Simple and smooth.
Go ahead.
Okay, dear Lord, thank you for the blessings of my good, amazing, close friend Jimmy, and the relationship we have, and this podcast we have, and these beautiful people we have in our life around us to ask us these questions and for us to answer. And thank you for giving us the knowledge to be able to give knowledge and to help others. And just thank you for the joy that you bring into each one of our lives every single day. Thank you.
Yeah. God is good. God is great. Let us thank him for this date. In your precious name we pray. Amen. Love you, bro.
I love it.
This is awesome. Talk to you soon. Love you guys. Everybody stay awesome.